That one's going to be a lot of fun. EG are my pick to win the lock-in tournament. TL was Jats. Everyone else picked 100 Thieves, so we'll see which way it goes.
I was borderline between picking the opponent for 100 Thieves between EG and Team Liquid.
Yeah.
So, I ended up going with EG, but they could prove me wrong in this next game right here.
Yeah, and most people did pick EG as the winner of the group, but we'll see which way it goes. It's going to be very fun and very exciting. That is next month very soon. I believe we are headed to either the analyst desk or a break as our stuff broke, but we'll see you soon.
Fix!
Initializing legendary moments.
Take a look while you can, but if you blink, you'll miss it.
I'm sure you've heard the news.
We do.
Gold, gold, and more gold.
Here comes the big play.
Oh, that's
Perfect timing. You can see this one coming.
They get what they need. They got the mids. They got the support. They got the top.
Are they gonna give you some fun League of Legends? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Welcome to the LCS.
FTX, official cryptocurrency exchange partner of the LCS.
Sequence complete.
What we do is right.
Hey, what we gonna do? How we gonna spit? How we gonna get this? How we gonna get it? What you gonna do when you talking to me? Is you a ugly fool when you walking with me? Hey, you a ugly dog when you a ugly dog when you walk out. Gray so sharp when you talk out. What you talking? What you talking about? What you talking about? Moving real slow when you're moving real fast. You know what you doing with all that cash? What you doing with all that cash money? What you doing when you looking real funny? Hey, what you doing with all that cash money? What you doing with all that cash money? Oh, I thought maybe I would get one of them, but I guess no. I'll tell Tiffany that since her birthday's tomorrow.
Let's get cracking.
Are you eating cheesecake? What are you doing for me? I mean, it's almost a tier 2.
You know, I personally love League of Legends for the factor it's like, oh wow, I didn't even think of that. You know, I forgot that that was a thing. Or even better, like I didn't even know that was possible. When you think you know everything, the game surprises you again, and I think that's what adds to the longevity of the game and why it's so fun to play, and that's why I look forward to things like the TP changes and the dragons. And whilst I was very well known for using my teleport bot lane, generally speaking, I think that that came because I had a very solid early laning phase. So I always opened myself up to teleport somewhere else. You know, it's never like I didn't just teleport for the sake of it. I always had a good wave state, I teleport down, and then I continue the lane. So for me, it's just a matter of making sure that the continuation of that laning phase is getting improved, getting better and better, and then focus a little bit more on my laning phase. So that plus the fact that, well, I'm still going to try and surprise people by showing up bot lane when I'm not supposed to.
You gotta love it. Welcome back to the LCS. A couple of quick words from Whippo on the changes and the fun of the game when it constantly changes. And to some degree, citing those teleport changes, we saw a little bit of that coming into play in that CLG victory that we just saw. And just a quick note off the top, I know that we did promise a post-game interview. We tried desperately to get it due to some technical difficulties. We were unable to secure it. CLG does play again later in the day. Yep. Maybe by then we'll have it figured out and we can get a word from one of them, because what an incredible victory that was.
Yeah, I'm really happy for CLG. I hope they can have a continuation of success. And if they lose a game, it's still fine. You're just going to continue going. It's the long process that's been stated from the start.
Fans right now. But now we turn our attention to game number three fingers, not two. Team Liquid versus Evil Geniuses. And Team Liquid has already told us that they will be subbing in a different bot lane. It was spoiled in the interview. They also tweeted it out. And so right away, we get another look for Team Liquid. Who wants to jump on this with Core JJ coming back in?
Yeah, with Core JJ back in. So I remember the last game when you were talking about, like, hey, you know, if you just turn the name plates off, like, where would the difference be? With me, Core JJ, during regular season play, but also even in the off-season in-house tournaments, like, it's the early laning phase. Like, willing to take, if he thinks that he can get a 2v2 kill, he hunts for it, he goes for it. Like, that's where a lot of the 2v2 kills from, you know, the old tactical Core JJ bot lanes came through. So, like, he is ultra confident in his matchup knowledge when it comes through.
Yeah, I think Core and Jan actually have a lot of inbuilt synergy. They've actually played a lot of 2v2 lanes together through in-houses or even through just wanting to play together. But specifically, Whippo and Core, I think, has a lot of potential to be a really, really good duo. Core JJ is so methodical in the way he finds engages, but sometimes he's so good at it, the team just kind of relies on him and waits until broken time to engage. So if he's having an off game, the team struggles. I think Whippo is one of the best creative top laner engagers that we've ever had, really, in terms of finding fights throughout the game. So combining that with Core could be really powerful.
I think Emily, too, that creativity and how it interacts with some of those changes. We heard him say he's going to try and find ways to get into the bot lane, even with all of those changes. I got to wonder if he is going to find some magical way to get down there.
I love Whippo. I mean, hitting on something we've already talked about several times today in terms of him returning to the top lane. He said it there. He's like, I think my early laning phase is really good. This is what I need to focus on in returning, and I might show up and surprise you bot. I think his game knowledge is insanely good, though, and we saw that from his jungle play.
Well, we have talked a ton about Team Liquid, and rightfully so, with all the off-season news that has surrounded this team. But from here, I want to transition to Evil Geniuses, because I think in a number of ways equally exciting. And we're going to start with JoJo, hot prospect.
Let's go. He the staff have been hyping this kid to me since last year. And they were like, Danny, you think he's good? JoJo. He's actually the truth. Not just like taking their accurate. But for JoJo here, they actually, in order to get someone like inspired to join the team, I know Peter Dunn said this publicly, they basically sent a JoJo highlight reel to teams to be like, look at how cracked our new mid is. This is who's taking over this position, and we're so excited about him. And to have that kind of momentum and faith in a new mid from North America is awesome.
Yeah, he's aggressive, he's a playmaker, he's something that, honestly, if you're a TG fan from previous years, you'll get that same element from what we saw from Jizuke, right? But it's going to be still a learning period, a development period for him. Watching him in Academy, you'd see the highlights, and sometimes low lights just being a little bit too greedy. I'm sure we'll be seeing that a little bit, but thankfully, as you mentioned, the coaching staff is going to be there. They've been working with him when he was in Academy, and we'll see him consistently improve in LCS. So,
JoJo's 17. Because he was JoJo since 16, right? Before that was a summer name, now he's 17. Your team has been in the LCS since 2014.
Oh, God.
Bjork's made his LCS debut. I haven't checked that. I think JoJo's 9.
Single digits.
Yeah, and now we'll see if
Exactly like Danny.
plays a major role in the decision to say, okay, I'm coming. I want to work with this kid.
Yeah, and I mean, we've talked so much. I know some of it has been off camera, some of it has been on, about how people see Academy, right? And making these debuts for all of these young players. Like, we really want orgs like EG, like CLG that we saw in our last game to really start believing in.
And, you know, we talked so much about JoJo Gun, and of course, like, that being the attraction for players like, here, the MVP inspired the summer split. Like, he is such a carry jungler, and I think he's going to be such a huge focus. And very rarely you get to see players who get plopped in, you know, and instantly are just the best in the region, right? And I feel like Inspired is that player here.
Yeah, and I think Inspired, when he did so well, it was because they had those pushing lanes, right? And I think that fits naturally into how EG are going to want to approach it.
Well, EG, Team Liquid again, most people looking at the groups initially, it was, well, group A feels decided, or at least very much in terms of who is the front runner with 100 Thieves. Yeah. On this side, it is a debate between EG and Team Liquid. I don't think we have an official prediction segment attached to this pregame, but I do want to know where the three of you stand on this one. Who is going to take her as? Who do you think?
Let's go!
Oh my God. I think I actually went EG here. I'm pretty sure I went EG here, just because I know we talked about Inspired. I think Inspired in the combination of Vulcan is a really strong jungle support dude.
We haven't even said Vulcan stayed there! Oh my God!
What a bargain to be able to get him, right? Like from Cloud9, like that is already for me the biggest names. And so like even though people are their eyes are going to be focused on the fact that they got in a young North American talent like Jojo Pyun, and also bringing in the MVP from the LEC and Inspired, but the fact that you now have like a consistent all-pro support is huge for this team, and is why people are afraid of them.
What do you think? TL, EG.
After TL, I gotta stay consistent.
Sticking with it. Emily?
I'll go with EG.
Okay.
I think his bot lane can be super good.
I like
That's
it.
why we touched on Vulcan, because, I mean, my only experience watching them, I think, was on Blabber and Crabbers in the offseason. And, yeah.
Well, here we go. Be the champion select. Let's see what the teams are going to bring to the table. Already threw a couple of first bans. Yeah, Senna.
that's
Renekton for Team Liquid. Caitlyn, a pretty natural ban coming from the side of EG.
Yeah, so I mean, like, you know,
That's
an
the worst.
appreciator of Senna in the bot lane, you can see from Danny, so it makes sense that they're respecting it. And it also just opens up picks like Galio, so it's a good ban, just because you really don't know what's going to happen in 4-5 if you let it through. But the fact that Jinx is still open, Lulu, I mean, these are just mainstays that we usually see from first pick. So, okay, Diego, banned away.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if Zin goes through, if it's going to be a first pick for TL, or if they would rather just wait and have a counter pick ready, because there's always the option of just picking Thresh when you have Core JJ, or Ayla's, as we found, as a very versatile first pick in the meta right now.
Well, a smorgasbord. Yeah, this is the first ban when it comes to the roles that each of these champions would fill. 3 seconds on the clock for the final one before we dive into
With clear mind,
What's
though.
interesting about the ball lane for both these teams is that, okay, Orianna. So that means that mid lane takes probably a higher priority going in the first 3 picks. So we'll see if that's going to
no
be
world where this guy's.
That's pretty interesting, because I was wondering if they were actually going to save EG counter pick for JoJo. Because we have, I know Jat touched upon this on Captain, we've typically seen across the board for most LCS going, you know, bot lane, duo, and jungle first 3 picks.
Yeah, I kind of actually feel like that board ban might have just been a throwaway, like,
What are you doing over there?
Strat, their Jin, their Viego, their Jinx.
You want to read your book?
And they're just going to want to be able to get them on return, so why not just get rid of something that JoJo's not going to play?
Point here for Yeon. Interested to hear your take here, Jack. Mostly just, I honestly expect him to play Aphelios just because he is a really good Aphelios player. I think that would probably be one of your best picks.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to be a surprise if that's going to be your answer, not just
Yeah, I think Aphelios Thresh has always been a good lane. It's
Yeah.
just, if you're playing Thresh, it's like a Jinx Thresh or an Aphelios Thresh. Those are probably the best Jinx Thresh.
So Trundle Aphelios here.
If they're going to be consistent, that's what they should
Hey,
do.
what you gonna hit it with? Yeah, hey, what you gonna get it with? Yo, hey, I'm just about to hit that. Hit that. Hey, what you gonna do when I hit that?
I really like the Bolivar callback, though. I think it's kind of an I feel safer revealing this now. We had a draft meeting in summer of 2021 where it was like, as long as we have Bolivar, I think we'll be alright. So ever since that moment,
Here's your book, read it slow. Where you go, ice cream show. Read your book, read it slow. There you go, ice cream show. Hold your book and do it quick.
So this is like the most interesting part of the draft. I mean, some teams put the fourth pick into 4-5 just to get a better image. Of course, he's just responding to the draft pick here. And it's like, we usually see Lulu being picked out knowing that it's helping both Jinx and the Xin Zhao. But a lot of teams, especially EG being the more aggressive type of team, that I'm for sure last year, I'm expecting that to be the case this year. Just want more engaged within their competition. So I'm expecting them to like move away from Lulu a little bit more, much like in this draft, just for the rest of the year, and look towards something like Oleona, or in this case, the Rakan.
Yeah, and then knowing typically the way that EG tend to draft from Impact, I'm guessing, just to highlight again, that probably the last Jojo ran out and
I know we call Oriana out as a possible, throw with more mid lane bans coming through.
we're getting there.
Will we finally push ourselves outside of kind of the pool of champions that we've seen in that lane so far?
Victor,
Corki, Victor, Vex, right? Those are the three. So we are going to move away from the mid lane then and look for a ban on the GP, one of Whipplo's favorites.
Yeah, and usually it's because you're trying to lean towards the tank play, which is what Impact is known for, but you're going up against a Trundle, which means in team fights, your stats are literally going to be null and void if you're just like facing off against them. So I don't think I'm going into a tank top lane from Evil Genius for that reason.
When the follow, so we'll round out with that final top lane. Right now, we'll listen to the no chance.
I'd love to see an Impact over attack. Way left field. Way left field. I mean, Ornn is good. Like,
You hungry now,
Jarvis
baby
is
girl?
good.
You hungry? You want
We really are expecting a top lane blind here, but more attack.
You hungry? Want to eat?
Something for it.
Okay.
We're all wrong.
Technically, that could go top.
Impact, Corgi top.
We've seen
I want to see.
I'll give the caveat that last year that Impact during the regular season was willing to play more things like flexes, like Akali.
Yeah.
So still wide open, especially during this part of the tournament where you're really just kind of experimenting.
I mean, in reality, it's bad.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
Who would have known?
I'm just more.
I'm actually kind of excited to see how Jojo does in the Corgi Victor matchup against Pyrrhixid. Like, does he have patience? It's really all about team fighting and whether or not you're getting enough chase to land.
And they get like an extra 80 AD as well.
I mean, for Team Liquid, okay. There we have it. Second sign we've seen so far, because the first one was from Dark.
Oh my god, why is she glitching like that? She's just glitching.
Tons of DPS, tons of frontline, and then they have still lane domination.
Funny enough, this is actually a pretty good. I know he's hovering the cannon, but I was thinking more so like, Camille, Aatrox, something you can play on side lanes, and you know the matchup's gonna be the Scion. Gnar works in that sense too. So like Gnar is that. So like Evil Geniuses have a pretty good 1-3-1 comp if they want that. They will likely just team fight because they have a Jinx in the college. They have a lot of engaged in their competition. But yeah, I mean they'll play through sides first before they get vision. So I think this is a good comp for Evil Geniuses.
So all in all, kind of surprises in champions, like at least when it comes to the broader meta.
So you guys both picked ET. Do you want to change your prediction after seeing
Right, now that you've seen comp locked in?
Stay TL.
Because TL's comp does look a little...
I'll stay easy. I'm not going to waffle on my predictions regardless of draft.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with EG because I think there's a good angle for them to play through sides first. So it's going to be harder for Team Liquid to kind of just like basically...
Yo, it's a 6 Twinshot angle!
Like that for objective, so... but they do have, Team Liquid does have an easier to play front-to-back team fighting.
Well, it's a 1-0 Team Liquid, bringing in Core JJ and Yon for their first matchup of the lock-in tournament up against the 0-0.
1-3 hit that angle. What you gonna do with that Django? Bojango.
Diving into the
Bojango.
game, so it's our turn to hand it back over to Cap for the call.
Thank you very much. We have got ourselves a humdinger of a matchup. Hit us up on Twitter with the hashtag RockatBigPlays and share the most hype moments throughout the day. That being said, we have a game to cover. I'm the ball one on the right, Freak. Over there is Kobe. And Jerson, in his second LCS game, his return on Team Liquid. On a Victor. Pretty standard matchup, honestly, for him.
Yeah, very, very standard for preseason competitive here. Super good scaling for both Victor and Corki. Long range rockets, obviously, from JoJo might be something we can look for accuracy.
Yeah.
I want to add some stats to the Champion Select. This is JoJo's first career Corki game.
Okay.
So I also want to see those zoomer mechanics on display with the packages.
Yeah.
We're going to get a little bit of an invade here. Warding on the Raptors.
Down, and no one started with Sweeper. You are not going to sweep that one out when you can. If you start Sweeper hardcore, like you can sweep the ward and then you can kind of jungle without information. If you do the ward, then recall, then Sweeper, it comes online at 1:30 to kill you if the light starts the camp. That's obviously not worth it. So,
do you know how much damage this Urgot's doing?
Wired,
My God.
This does not affect duo lane in almost any way. You don't really hit these special breakpoints because melee mins are worth so much XP. This doesn't get you over the line. But it's still some free gold, and it's more guaranteed brush control for TL as they put the ward down, then swept, and then indeed got rid of the ward. So cool look for the duo lane here. Brush control, of course, is going to be pretty important in this matchup. As Eon does what I believe is correct for Corki, by the way, which is starting E. The base damage is like 120. It is, I think, the most damaging level 1 skill in the game, outside of like maybe Rumble's Flame Spitter. And so you get lane prio starting there, and okay, indeed, she's the first shot.
So JoJo clapping Bjergsen is what you're telling me.
Already
right off
better.
the bat.
Yeah.
That's
all I can say. Yeah, I mean,
he did tweet out too. I like. We're already seeing some fire from him. You know, along with the Evil Geniuses brand.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to bring back the hashtag
Live Evil
more from
yeah.
the players. JoJo started, tweeting out. Who is this Team Liquid mid laner?
Yeah, but he didn't end the tweet with hashtag Live Evil, so
because he didn't really have like an insult in it. It was more of a like.
Well, he's Canadian. That's as far as he goes. So, I mean, really.
Yeah. It was more the insult by like I don't know who it is, kind of ignoring types. So
yeah,
we'll workshop on the more Live Evil look at this team. But very clearly, we've got a pause here. We are working on it immediately, trying to get to the root of this problem. We'll be right back in this game because we don't do match of the week here at LCS, but we do match of freaking Kobe's pick. And this is it, baby! Match of freaking Kobe's pick! It's gonna be hype!
It's gonna be great! We're back on a high five.
I wasn't gonna do a high five, and then...
But then I kind of posed. You were kind of like hands out, and I was like, I'm reading the body language, and then you read the body language, and then we got on the same page.
You can expect more of that coordination in the weekly, freaking Kobe match.
That's true.
Is the hypest of the entire tournament.
Even if we're not casting together, we'll still make sure to come on and be like, hey, by the way.
We'll have a graphic prepared.
Yeah.
To tweet out for every week.
Just lower third, both faces there. We picked this one. This is the match for us. I think it's a great idea.
True.
Just my man.
Get my bald cap back on, working in short order here.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But the reason for that is because these are two of the most hyped up teams. Yes, Team Liquid has a little bit of a switch around, and a lot of teams have had to have subs or reconfigurations of rosters. But yeah, super excited for so many of the storylines, and especially for Team Liquid, since we already saw the Ayla version with Hansama perform quite well, arguably a much easier opponent. Now we get to see the other version from Team Liquid with Core JJN, with Jan. Again, they have played a lot together.
What's up, my baby? Did you eat all of your food? Did you eat it all?
So much with the academy.
Did you eat it all?
In-houses, scrims, all of that. So I do have a lot of confidence in both versions of Team Liquid, and there's so much hype.
You are bloody.
With the money that they spent to
Nom nom up. Wow, your butt.
Inspired over, and put all these veterans.
12-game win streak.
With the new, younger players, right, Danny and JoJo, it also is a very hype story to finish different way.
I mean, it's really cool, right? It's a mix of doing, I feel like, everything right. Like, I'm becoming a very big fan of EG because
everything's right.
I think that's what it feels like. So, obviously, okay, we know Inspired's outstanding, right? Grab him up. That costs money. Okay, got it. You got a budget, though, right? So, grab Vulcan. We know he's outstanding. That costs money. And then, the other kind of half of that roster is the 18-year-old now in Danny, who was, right, on Prodigies and grabbed up and brought up already.
That's the only reason why he's being
who was on Academy last year. 17, this is his first year to be in the LCS, right? So,
Born in 2004. That makes you feel.
Yeah, and then even with his fight, he's actually 19 right now. He's actually really young as well. So it's a mix of like incredible internal scouting, and shout out to that entire crew for great scouting. I mean, it really like there's a reason EG won coach staff the split because their scouting is amazing.
Wait to see him rack up the victory.
No, I'm already gonna call it.
Yeah.
No, I'm already gonna call that he's just already gonna be the top mid laner in the league. But right, that's the mix. He's like, yes, sometimes the best players are in other countries, and already everyone knows it.
What you doing here,
right?
baby?
And sometimes your scouting is really sick, and you got them early, and they're bought in, right? And
They've been telling everyone that their scouting is really sick, and we'll find out shortly.
Well, so far, right, we've 100% hit rate of Danny, right? The one they promoted in the LCS was absolutely great. I'm not saying he was literally faker, but like he was really, really good for a 17-year-old professional in the LCS on a new team. Like,
boy,
it was great, and he's gonna keep growing.
Boy, you trying to hit me with that mutant, boy?
And they're saying it's gonna be better, by the way. Then like 2 for 2, this team is going.
You trying to hit me with that adrenaline rush mutant, boy? You better get that, boy.
Right now, in as explosive of a fashion as some of the previous metas. Like last year, when Judge was picking Silas all the time, that one you can display so many, aggressive moves, and you get these really exciting low health moments and Kingslayer timings that work out, and stealing the correct ultimates, and that type of stuff. It's not as impressive when it's, Corky Victor, like really big damage outputs, but you can see it in the things like the positioning, in specifically with the Corky example for this game, hopefully we'll see with Rocky accuracy and the usage and timing of your package. Package being on the 4-minute cooldown, dragging at 5 minutes, so that you've got a long leeway there to set up, time it with your neutral objectives. Like the first one, it was very obvious that 8 minutes lined up with Israel, so that's a no-brainer, but coordinating those packages with the timings for your team for the objective setups is another thing. Yes. That shows a lot of, teamwork.
Absolutely. So we are still investigating the bugs, so we are heading back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. We'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, gents. Yes, unfortunately dealing with a little bit of a bug investigation, and so while that takes place, we'll keep you apprised of any updates as they come to us. But for now, we get to talk a little bit more about this matchup. We went through Champions Select quite a bit. Certain there are going to be some more thoughts on that as well. Before we get to that, I kind of want to key into the conversation they were having around Evil Geniuses, young talent, Danny, and let's start there actually before we get back to JoJo. Danny had an incredible first split. Freak saying, hey, if they go 2 for 2, this team's going all the way to the moon. But something else to consider is that sophomore year as well, right? Because so often we do look at a rookie who maybe impresses quite a bit, and then the question is, can they sustain that when metas change and maybe don't favor them or play into, as Kobe said, hey, we've had aggressive metas, this one maybe a little bit less so. How will that sophomore year go for a player like Danny?
So that's where I'm really going to be relying on Vulcan, actually. Because I know we'd started talking about it before draft and didn't really get to highlight him as a player. In my mind, I still think of him as like fresh to the LCS, despite the fact that he's actually bringing so much experience to the lane. And I really want, above all else, like Danny as a team carry. I think what he can improve on is his laning, and I think Vulcan can actually help him.
Yeah, that's the next evolution, right, for Danny, is the ability, because he's had many highlight reels of team fighting. So like you can definitely look at team fighting and say if you can consistently hit that, then great. But like especially with the TP changes, a greater focus on bot lane 2v2, and we already just came off a game where it was literally just lost off of just the.
Urgot was gone early.
I expect the Danny and Vulcan to work a lot together on just early laning, and then of course you can start roaming it, and he can be a little. I'm sure he can play self-sufficiently, but if he can get that, then perfect. That road of development works.
I love Freak's scale too, of evaluation there. What was it, like good to faker? That's a very big scale there, my friend.
I think Danny's arc last split was really interesting because he ended on like the highest of highs with that Tristana. But also, like if you think about the way that he got gold,
he's like
maniac, and then Danny was just killing turrets. Right. That's how he was getting like the initial feed on Tristana, and then he was a very good team fighter. What do you want, like zoomer mechanics or something? Yeah. He's 18 years old. He's amazingly with his reaction time and position he fights. Mm-hmm. But to like, even if we zoom in on this game, like getting gold might be really hard because I'm kind of looking at his lanes, looking at the line. I think that should win the season against Khan, and Wakana's going to have to leave to find these engages, so I'm wondering how he's going to get fed in this game.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a question I have beyond this game that he's going to have to learn from, because I don't think his laning phase is nearly at the level of the rest of this game.
Well, and for me, that's kind of the perfect transition back over to JoJo. And I know you just said, hey, Victor, Corky, expected to maybe be a bit of a wash of a lane, but yeah, very much so. You're filling in Jizuke's shoes, which I feel like are some of the most unique shoes out there in the League of Legends scene.
Yeah, I got some for that too, because I have a laptop. So
Nice.
Man came prepared.
Yeah, he is really young. I confirmed he's 17. But you look at his most played from Academy or Amateur last year, he's got 9 games of Silas, 8 games of Lucian, 8 games of Lulu, 8 games of LeBlanc, 5 games of Set, 5 games of Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Right? So there are no forfeits on him. And obviously there are a lot of transitional skills from like
Yeah.
But like that's one of the worries you have when you're so young. Puritan has played in every meta. It really wasn't a Corky Victor meta for long last year. A lot of it was the Silas and the Tristana and things like that. So this is not him starting on like a very comfortable footing.
Yeah.
Is all I'll say against Puritan with these champions.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say a positive and a negative. The positive for JoJo Finn is the fact that he's actually like pretty diverse in the champion pool that he has, right? He can play control mages. He can play assassins like bruisers, as you've mentioned before, earlier. So like the criticism of Jizuke last split was how damn good he is, but then when it came to a control mage meta, by the end of the split, he was getting punished. And in this case, at least he can play multiple things, but of course. I look at the negative and say that he is really chaotic at times. He plays aggressively, and I think you need a team that can play around that, right? But a lot of what I've seen from Inspired in Rose was that they're playing around the jungle timer. He's the one that's heavily farming. A lot of the time we're playing towards getting the jungle out. So this is a classic of being able to pick one needs to be a little bit more of a facilitator. So it's either that JoJo Finn needs to play a little bit more self-sufficient so he can let Inspired do his thing, or the opposite, and needs to see a different version of Inspired so he can be a little bit more flexible in helping mid lane get ahead.
Quick update for those of you at home on the bug investigation.
Give it to me.
We were looking at interaction from Scion in which the Q was used, went on cooldown, but no action emanated from the usage of the Q. So has been confirmed to be a bug, and a chrono break has been offered. We are still waiting to know whether or not that has been accepted. And then you should probably take it, and if you do, then of course there will be a small cooldown period where you have to be back to it.
There's something with like bugs. Yeah.
I didn't
It
know
was the bug. It was the bug last year.
Oh man, there was so many delays when TL played best of 5 against EG. It was like a semi-final best of 5.
Yeah.
But
well, you knew it had to happen in this game when the first 2 games today went as quick as they did, right? Like that was karmic right there, having like really quick mid 20-minute games in the face of like LEC having the longest game so far of the year today. So you knew we were gonna have a small loss.
I kind of want to tell the inside story of the bug last year. I know it's kind of off topic, but bug investigations are interesting, and it's way harder when you're remote as well, because you don't have the player POVs to prove or disprove things that happen.
Right.
So the other team is highly suspicious of the claims you're making. And this, I know this tilted EG, but I believe that we were, like TL was being truthful. So the first remake that we did was Jizuke was playing Cinder against Jensen. And Jensen is colorblind, for one. And 2, he could not see his cues.
Yeah.
Right? So he got hit by like 4 in a row, and it was like, I can't see the cues. He paused, he's like, ref, I can't see the cues.
Yeah.
And then Jizuke's like, no, he just wasn't dodging the cues. It's clearly behind.
Yes.
Right? But I like,
That's a great
he couldn't see the cues, and then also they ended up banning the skin from future things.
Yeah.
And then we almost had to do another remake because he was like, well, Jizuke would like to use Atlantean Cinder, and we're like, that skin is also banned. Like, just make him use the base Cinder. Anyway, so we got that done. We win the first game. Game 2 comes around, right? And the way that it was in the TL facility is like the 5 players, almost like this. They're like playing against this wall, and my desk is outside the room.
Yeah.
And you watch on a delay when you're remote because you can't have any scores and you can't have interaction. But if I peep just right, I could like kind of see how far his screen. So there was this Rift Herald fight at like 9 minutes, and his screen just goes black, and I see his hand go.
What
is this?
actually.
Right? And I'm like, his screen went black. And they're like, yeah, but how can you prove that?
Yeah.
And then they like watch the replay, like, yeah, we think he would have died anyway. And we're like, no, he wouldn't. Like, we talked for like 10 minutes about it with the referees, so it ended up being this really long delay. EG's super pissed because they think the first pause was already not.
Yeah.
Anyway, it ended up being like a 3.5-hour series for a 3-0, but these things can take a while.
You know what TOL added to their repertoire now?
Yeah.
Pauses. We got the Fnatic effect. Whippo is now upon the team, so I feel like now we're ready for a few more pauses.
Yeah, pause meta.
Yes.
Pause meta is still being, explored to its fullest. I mean, in general, I am of the opinion I always want a player to pause.
Yeah.
That's what I would always tell the players.
Yeah.
Always pause, and if they offer a chrono break, always take it.
Yeah.
Unless you're really winning the game.
Okay.
Because that's,
Yeah, I was
that's
gonna
how
say.
it works. There's always a chance the chrono break fails, and it turns into a full remake.
Yeah.
So
That
if
is
you
also
have like
true.
a 10,000 gold lead, you should not take the pause. If you were down 10,000 gold, always take the chrono break.
Right.
Like 1,000,000%.
During the regular season, actually, I remember last year, I think it was either Palafox or something, where it was like, oh, it was very clearly
Yeah.
the player themselves didn't. I like, no.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, you missed an opportunity.
I'm so sorry I have to jump in because I just got an update and this is gonna
The chrono break failed.
This is gonna piss Jat off. No! They offered TL a chrono break and TL declined.
I mean, if they just want to get on with the game, that's fine.
I mean, which is great for all of us, but it's just funny. It flies in the face of the philosophy that we're trying to pitch up here on the desk. So we still, I think, have a moment or two to go until the game is actually ready to fire off, but we will not be chrono breaking.
Maybe Whipple's lane state was in a really good spot regardless.
It was like,
You don't want it to happen?
doesn't want